Hello folks, welcome to Saturday. And I know yesterday on stream I said I wasn't going to stream today, but plans have changed and I'm able to fit in a little jaunt around Westhill, so that's what we're going to do. My name is Joel Duggan, welcome back to the channel. Good to see Cal Dan, and good to see some new faces, Lurker and Blurbro, perhaps new to the channel. And good timing because if you'll notice, our Elytra is perilously low. Perilously low. Perilously is not a word. Perilously low. So we got to go fix that. WDO23, 13 months, lucky 13. Rocking the Space Keystone badge, of course. Thanks so much, WDO33. 23, WDO23 for the tier 1 sub. Very much appreciated. And a great way to kick off the stream. However, we need to put some stuff away so I can go repair things. And we're going to take a look at what we're going to do today. I need to move all this stuff too, so we'll have some inventory management when we get back. Gravel, the andesites. I'm going to empty some of this too, I think. Bring to figure out what. We'll figure all this out when we get back. And what tools? There's a shovel that needs repairing as well. I might as well just bring this whole thing properly. And I think I'm low on carrots too, yeah. It'll remind me. I believe carrots were dropped off to us though. It'd be good in that respect. Okay. So before we walk all the way to the piglin, zombified piglin spawner, let's go down here to the south and we'll see what we're going to be working on today. Oh, boo! Yes, I was. There was supposed to be a thing for me today, but I had to reschedule, and so things are now available for me to stream this afternoon. So here, last time we were working on the texture along the water and this wall. We've got a little bit of debris and stuff down there underneath the water, but we haven't done the final riverscaping, at least not beyond that point. I feel like we've done enough here. But this here is going to need some love. Now that we have kind of this area and this area, we have to kind of figure out how the texture is going to go on the road. I need to figure out what I'm going to put here, if anything, probably just a couple of trees. And then we've got the texture that needs to go down on this road that goes around the corner. And then, of course, the final sort of foliage and stuff that's happening here. So I don't really have much of a plan for that other than just starting with the texture on the road and then quickly moving into the foliage pass here, which I believe I mentioned before. We're going to make it so it looks sort of like this stuff over here, just like heavily overgrown and bushy and too tall grass, that kind of thing. So let's go quickly see what we've got for carrots before we head out. Tilted EP, hello. Welcome in. Oh yeah, the ongoing inventory struggle is real, Lurker. That's the thing we deal with, especially in doing the detail work. I find the detail work really eats up the inventory. Oh, we got lots. Okay, cool. So I don't have to bring back any carrots. And we've got more than enough of everything else. I don't think we're really running low on anything. I'm just going to wait a minute or two so we can sleep before we head out, because otherwise we'll be caught in the dark in the woods, which would not be good. And I don't believe there's anything else that's needed. That's just the iron box. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're good. I don't think we need anything. We're not too low. I've never played Terraria, Blur Bro. Never find the appeal of more pixelated games. I think there's a bed in here. Yeah. So for anybody that's new, we've been working on this town for about 2.5 years. We're getting really close to finishing it up. We have the keep yet to finish, and today we're going to be working on this south approach. And then after that, it just starts to get into like the rivers and the roads, and there's one big bridge here that needs to be done too. Depending on how this goes today, we might touch on the bridge just to kind of break things up. Happy Saturday, Toy Bear. Good to see you. There's a few things out here that need to change too. Like obviously there's no texture on the ground. This is still an old outline to a square. Or to a crossroads rather. We've got to finish this farm wall and landscaping. Stuff like that. I'm definitely going to be taking some inspiration from some of the roads and paths that I've seen on Pixelverse streams of Elden Ring. They've got these cool section of road where there's just like a cobblestone patch or whatever, and it just stops. You know, like it's like I said, just a chunk of road that has been worn down. And I like that look. I've never played Pokemon. I've seen people play Pokemon Go, but I've never played Pokemon. I'm older than you think, to put it lightly. And I shouldn't say that because Pokemon was around when I was younger. It just wasn't something I was into. It certainly had a higher craze once I was older, and it was like below my interest levels. Pokemon is older than most kids think. That's fair too. Well, that sucks about the flight times, Dan. Booking vacations and stuff is always stressful. Not my favorite. If you ask my second graders, they'll tell you it's new. Not several times as old as they are. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can see that, how the perception from young people would be that Pokemon is a brand new thing. I mean, in all fairness, the latest game is new, right? So we will not be using the Elytra to fly all the way down to the gold farm because it is on its last legs. Using the old-fashioned cobblestone bridge that's on fire in several places. I'm using Silder's shaders, I think. I'll check as soon as I get to the gold farm. I need to try to find something a little bit lighter. I find that my frame rate is pretty miserable. It says 75, but that's not entirely true. I get a lot of frame setters with these shaders, especially in Westhill. It's not so bad in the Nether. It's pretty smooth in the Nether. There's a couple that I could play with that are a little bit lighter, like they're a little bit less intense. But obviously the screenshots don't look quite as good. Yeah, I only do this solid ship for the walkabouts. Like whenever I have to go repair my elytra, or if I'm like walking around and showcasing what I'm going to be doing, I'll turn on shaders. But very seldom do I like a 3-hour stream. I don't build with shaders on. When I'm like going in and out of my inventory and running around like a chicken with my head cut off, no, I play normal. My computer, for whatever reason, the Minecraft performance and the shaders, it can't handle it. I find it so bizarre that you have to have such a high-end computer to play Minecraft at a high level. It's gotten better, I think, with the way that they've honed the game over the last few years. So for folks that are new, this is a zombified penguin donut farm. I'm sure you're probably used to seeing it. However, it is in the nether, not on top of the nether, because we don't build on top of the nether on this server. We wanted to keep things a little bit more challenging. So this won't take very long. And as for shaders, options, video settings, we are using BSL version 8.1.1.02.2. I feel like they're missing like a plus bus, this one final plus at the end, but you know, to each their own. And the ones that I like, I think that are good are the enhanced default ones, which I think is also BSL. Or that might be Silders. I can't really remember. Complementary shaders are fun in very specific use cases, like underground. But I find that the enhanced default are really kind of good all around. If you're having trouble playing with shaders, try the enhanced default because they're very light. And some of these are shaders that I don't use at all. I should probably just ditch because there's no need for them to actually be there. But let's try the enhanced default. Yeah, that doesn't change too much, right? A little bit of lighting, but nothing too terrible. I wish I could play with these shaders on. I've been doing a lot of digging. Might as well repair both shovels. Yeah, they're a bit bright, and I don't remember whether that's a problem with the shaders in the nether, whether it's a problem with those shaders overall, or whether it's a setting that I just need to tweak. There's probably been enough time passing since the last time I've used some of my shader packs that I should just re-download them all with their latest versions and recalibrate them. But recalibrating takes a long time. And I find that what's a real pain with shader packs, and folks in the chat might find this as well, when you have a shader pack you like and someone updates it and they say, okay, well, this version is better than the last version, but then they remove settings. They remove the ability to like have the water stop waving around, have the ability to stop the leaves from waving around. I find that it's such a frustrating process where I don't want the water to move around. I don't like it. I like just flat Minecraft water, but I like it to be reflective. But then if they have that in one shader pack, but they don't have it in the next, like, why did you remove it? Like, isn't it more work to remove that setting than it is to keep it in there? It's such a pain. Just about ready. Once the shovel's done, we'll be good, because the pickaxe will last forever. Might even get them both. That was definitely a reinforcement patch right there, wasn't it? There we go. Nice. Tools are back. Snowballs are back. We're good. Very old farm. Definitely needs some decorative updates. Put this away. Nice. We usually have a resource pack on, like when you're playing the game, but do you recommend shaders too? Play how you want to play and play how, you know, the best experience. Most people don't use shaders because their computers usually create like a lower frame rate. I've got my frame rate maxed out at 75 because that's what my monitor refresh rate is, and there's no sense in having it be any higher than that. But we'll check the frame rate again when we get back to Westhill, and you'll probably find that in the overworld and close to my big build, my frame rate is more like 35 or 45. And it's less about the frame rate as much as it is a screen stutter on my end that's hard to perceive on Twitch, because your Twitch experience might be different than what I'm seeing in terms of the frame rates and stuff like that. It depends on your internet connection and all that kind of stuff. I have 100 megabits symmetrical, so my upload to Twitch should be 1080p 60 frames a second without any issues. We don't have to walk this now that I have a repair to Elytra. So that's nice. But I think Silders is a good site to start off with shaders. They tend to have a variety of shaders available. Soulship, thanks very much. Appreciate that. And I believe, Soulship, you're a new patron on the Spawn Chunks. I recognize your username. Thanks very much for that. So we're going to sleep here. And for anybody confused, we have what's called a world hub. We've installed some command blocks that teleport you 10,000 blocks away from spawn, and that's where a lot of our themed areas are. So this is the medieval area, and all of this is kind of earmarked as medieval builds for folks in the server that want to do that. And we've got modern city builds, we've got other things too. Thanks, there's the list. Dan just posted that in chat. So you'll notice here, frame rate's more like 37, 38. And I don't know if it ends up being a little bit more choppy on your end on Twitch, but I notice it for sure. In the overworld, specifically where there's a lot of shadows being cast in the early morning when the sun comes up. It is very cool to approach the town with shaders on, though, from the north, which is why I do it. It's just fun. I love walking through these trees. This reminds me of some hikes that I go on here locally in Nova Scotia. It looks very much like this around our hiking trails. And this is what I like about these Silders shaders, is that I can have the water be reflective but not be wavy. Let's keep it pretty neutral. I find that when I do this walk too, I try not to move my mouse super fast, because when I do that, that's when the frame stutter starts to happen. So you can see the start, especially on the map, of this other farm wall that we're going to put in, and kind of see where we can We might actually curve it this way and kind of have this pond be part of a different spot. I feel like we need to have a wall between these two farms, like indicating where one property would end and the other one would begin. So for folks that are here for the first time seeing Westhill, this is the main approach. This is the north gate. I could take the east bridge, but we'll go through the middle of town to get to the shulker boxes and stuff. Yeah, Zero's minimap is a great mod. I quite like it. I use the minimap actually more for just quickly checking what I'm doing without having to always go to the big map. But I like the big map for like roads and seeing the town and looking at rivers and stuff. But I use the coordinates. Having the coordinates on the screen all the time is so helpful, rather than popping up the giant debug screen, which I don't find good content, you know. 2.5 years, but yeah, we started in November of 2020. I think November was the farms out here, and I think that either November or December 2020 was the front gate, and then we just kind of expanded from there. You got to remember though that for the first year and a half, it was weekends, followed by the next few years, not full time, but certainly 3 or 4 times a week. So, and then this year I've been almost every day. What am I doing here? I'm looking for shaders. I'm going to try the other ones just to kind of see. I'm just curious. Enhanced default. So really, I think they just add shadows. Like, I think that the enhanced default, that's all they really do. I get the screen tear though. Like, I get the stutter, and I wouldn't be able to play like this. You can see there's weird lines on the shulker boxes. So like, it's not, it needs to be fixed or something. Like, it's just not quite there. It probably, I need to be, sorry, when I say that, I mean, I need to download the latest, because I have not downloaded a version of this in ages. All right, so we need to put the shovels back. I need to grab some rockets. And then we need to move all this stuff and put things away that we don't need. Just enough spots. Complementary shaders are changing a lot. Yeah. Complementary shaders, I imagine, would look really cool, Scotsman, in your build with all the crystals. Because complementary does a lot of like glowy stuff with crystals and prismarine and things like that. Tipster, thanks very much. Yeah, we've been working pretty hard. In like in a fun way. I don't think of it too much as work, but let's put the bed and other things back in here. I'll take this stuff out. What's in there? Sand. We can put that away. This is water breathing potions. So what are we going to need? We're going to need probably dirt, horse dirt, landscaping, Tough. I don't think we're going to need the spruce. If we do, we're going to be close enough that we can actually just come back to the keep and get it. Not a big deal. I think my grass is full over here. Yeah. What version of grass is that? I've got... I think this is 6. Two, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Sooner or later, I'm sure we'll use it on the server. It's just always nice to have around. So we'll put this one in here. Take out a few extra. So we've got our grass ready to go. Stone bricks, moss, cobblestone, andesite, azalea, bushes, green bin, that stone. Guess we'll bring in the deep slate just in case. Gravel also. Yep. All right. We're going to need all that stuff. Going to need all of that stuff. So now I just need to put some of this away. I think I have a gravel box in here somewhere, but it's probably full. Does anybody find that a few things that used to work in Minecraft don't work on the first try anymore? Like I find that shift double click into the inventory, I have to do it twice. I find that I have to press F3 twice for it to come up. I don't know why. It's such a weird little specific bug. Oh, all of this needs to go away too. Jungle, jungle, jungle. We'll leave those. Some stuff we can just turf. It's so nice to be able to be organized enough that this does not take forever. You know, you can just kind of quickly put things back. And all of a sudden you end up with a couple shulker boxes full of room you didn't have before. I think I'll keep the mud. And ink sac can go back over here somewhere. Sure. Some of these are just random chests. Like that one. I have a grass box now. And I feel like, I don't know if our dirt is full as well. Yes, it is. Okay. Sweet. Now I just have to figure out where we're going to set up shop. And I can't do it in the usual places on the roads because we're going to be texturing the roads. Do you have a separate screen for chat? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've got 2 monitors. What cape do I have? I think it's just one that I got for updating the launcher. I don't really remember. You know, we're going to be working all around here. So I could set up here maybe. Or I could set up in the main square in the south part of town, in Low Town here. It means a lot of back and forth across the bridge. I can't see any place else that's really going to be convenient. Yeah. So we'll just set up here for now. All right, first up, dirts, grasses. Actually, yeah, dirts and grasses. And we'll do stones. Guess gravel should be somewhere else. Bone meal, and then we've got the spare shulker box and the green stuff. And then we'll make sure we have a decent amount of mossy slabs and things. So, with the texture on these roads, usually I try to think about like the traffic and where it would go, and there'd be obviously a lot going this way. So we'll start there and just kind of continue on with these patterns as best we can. But also there's going to be some turn off at some point as well. And this is definitely an older part of town, so it'll be a bit beat up. I like to start with cracked stone, usually as a way to get things going. And we can work in things like andesite and stone and everything else later on. The andesite is always usually a good spot to start because you can have a nice kind of like separation across the road of like where your next andesite's going to be. And I just like to kind of feel these out by just just eyeballing it. Just kind of see what's going to look like. It's not going to be too cluttered, you know, or too much of a pattern. Rabelais, 6-month gift subscription courtesy of Cosmic Dancer has entered month 4. Thanks for giving a shout out for Cosmic. And Cosmic, thank you ever so much for that gift sub for Rabelais. Doing well, Rabelais. How are you? Doing well. All right, let's throw in some smooth stones, or regular stones, I should say. I mean, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. Oh, that maybe not the best spot. Let's do cobblestone there. I do find cobble can get a little overdone. But like I said, I am trying to break up this road a bit, make it look more worn down. I'm trying to keep it fairly clean in the middle, because the idea being like either a wagon would have track marks there and there, or people walking would not necessarily walk down the middle. Kind of veer stuff off in this way. What I usually try to do is have some sort of like arc that kind of pulls you out in the direction of a separate path. And we're going to have to use some landscaping to kind of direct people up here too, because it's not going to be super obvious. Whoops. Potential happy accident, but I think I'd rather keep the stuff down here as stone, various things. Don't want to get into the sound changes just yet. It's hard when you've got the regular stone as your gutter kind of texture, because you don't want to put a stone right there because then it looks like it butts up against it, kind of funny. I don't think I like these gravel bits here. I think I'd much rather have andesite instead. Or just cracked stone. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to take shape. I might want to remove this, or move it over rather. Yeah. not entirely of this world, but generally hanging out when where the squirrels are on their pub crawl. Right on. I like to think it's a pretty chill stream. People can kind of hang out, come and go as they please. I haven't been to a local pub in about a month. Yeah, I'd say that feels pretty good. I did miss some other textures. I need stone. I need cobblestone slabs. I somehow forgot to bring those. I think I brought the mossy version. Yeah. And let's bring some bushes as well. So obviously I want this to look like a road, but because of the dirt sides, you really don't see the path very clearly. So I think what needs to happen up here is there needs to have some bushes here to kind of like guide your eye. I'm gonna try to rough these in. Remove this. Yeah, I think we can even help this a little bit. I'm gonna go get some moss. And once again, we are low on inventory space. Guess I don't need the bow right now. No problem, Lurker. Glad that you had a good trip. My my parents just got back from a trip as well. Hunter 555 coming in with Elkhorn 95 with a rating party of 9. Say an Elkhorn raid. Elkhorn, thanks very much for sharing your viewers. What's shaking? What were you up to today? Thanks for the shout out for Elkhorn. Appreciate it. Folks coming in from Elkhorn stream, if you wouldn't mind switching over and watching on Joel Duggan on Twitch, I would very much appreciate it. Helps us maintain some higher views on the channel. So I use the moss blocks to try and even out a lot of the brown looking terrain. This actually might be better off as a slab. Yeah, and then I would change maybe these two. It's a little bit more fun. Yeah. So you can see how that starts to help this look more like a path now, although this block might be a little bit too far out. We might want to change this into grass. Yeah, that means I'm going to change this back as well. I don't know, maybe this has to be plain grass. Yeah, I think I need to see the side of that. I need to see the side of that. Singular Hollow, subscribing with Prime for 3 months. That unlocks the Water Keystone badge. Thanks so much. Elkhorn was playing on Infinity Cove. That's my patron server for people that are looking to check that out. You can go to patreon.com/JoelDuggan. That link has been put in the chat by Nightbot, if not by Dan. And I was going to read the rest of Elkhorn's sentence and then it scrolled away. Working on another viewer redeem build and Overseer's Manor for the farm area in Deepwater Bay. Very cool. Very cool. I've not been on Infinity Cove in a while. I need to go and check that out sometime soon. All right, so I need to push this back, I think, too. This is a little bit too far forward. Maybe we can put the grass there instead. Yeah, I like that. Actually, we might be able to get away with some too tall grass here. Which I did not bring any bone meal. That might be okay. So we've got this kind of bush pattern that's coming out this way. Maybe we'll push that back like that. We are getting close to a taiga biome. Soon about here maybe. This is always challenging. Yeah. I can't push the bush too far because we'll have to switch it to mangrove. And I think we'll move these two. Already the moss is not really fitting very well. Yeah, I think whatever we do here will have to be a little bit more either structural, like we'll need like a light or something. That might not be a bad idea, actually having a lamppost here somewhere. Probably would make the most sense. I would say like crest of the hill. Maybe just a little bit farther. Oh, Soul Chip, that's just part of my DNA. I can't just kind of quickly play stuff and leave it. I always tend to mess things up, mess around with things and want to go back and forth with it. But you can see already it's kind of helped define the right side of the path. And so we can just do the same thing over here. It'd be a little bit easier because we're in the plains biome. Where does the taiga start? Oh yeah, so we got lots of room here. What I like about moss carpet is that you can use it very effectively to like give your path a precise edge. So even that just all of a sudden gives you like, there very much feels like a road to take this way. I think some of these textures have to change a little bit. I think there's just a little bit too much dirt on the front end of these textures. Like I think I'd like to change this into maybe like some cracked stone or something to kind of help keep the gray path going on in the distance. I mean, I get derailed into detail, but I think I make sure that all the details usually have a purpose, right? Now, I wanted to get something else here, but I need to drop something off first. Ooh, guess we're not using the bucket right now, or the scaffolding. I'll bring some mangrove bushes and some bone meal. Oh, Scotsman, I believe that you're someone that would add some details, and you're detail oriented as well, Soul Chip. Very cool. Yeah, so up here is where we need to switch to mangrove stuff. It'll be a much nicer color, it'll match the biome better. Might be a little bit too much grass. Oops. I can probably put like a wall there, like a type of wall. Let's do andesite here. I feel like a lot of these are maybe a little bit too broken down. Like I can see some dirt patches, but I feel like there needs to be more stone than dirt patches, you know? I feel like the dirt patches need to be not on the front edge. Yeah, it feels a little bit better. So I like to use the moss to get in behind and remove the dark dirt, but sometimes it ends up not working that well when you get too close to a taiga biome. Whoops, wrong key. I'm still in the plains, but we're starting to get to that biome blend. It's always a tricky spot to be in. Because at some point, the bush just looks better. Thanks very much for the heads up, Dan. Appreciate it. It's a little repetitive, but I think I maybe just need to push it back a bit. And maybe give this a little bit more of a broken down vibe. Like maybe this could be a stair or something. If I can push this back. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Nope. Yeah, okay. Feeling like a stronger path. Maybe a little bit of a shape tweak needs to happen, but I definitely don't feel like you lose it anymore, so we'll leave it there for now. If you're new to the channel, I take a break once an hour, and it is about that time. So I'm going to step away for a little bit. You should too. Grab a stretch, snack, even maybe poke a friend and say, hey, come on and hang out. We'll see you in just a few minutes. So I think we can probably get this path sorted as soon as I take care of the creeper. The only problem with working out in the outside of town is that there's always the risk of mobs. Let's put the bushes back for now. Where did you go? Maybe you despawned? All this is very squishy decoration. I don't want any surprises. We've lit this up. Didn't see anything over here. We should be good. Yeah, I really get cheesed off when I just finish doing something and a creeper blows it up. I don't find it a fun game mechanic at all. And do I have mud? I do. Squishy decoration, that's one way to look at it. Yeah, I think so. Remember when I was playing a lot of MMOs, people would refer to themselves as being squishy if they didn't have enough armor. Oops. Even here, I feel like this could maybe be andesite or something. Oh, I put the bushes back, didn't I? Right. Gecko Gamer, hello. You play a tank usually? It's your job to take the hits so the squishy DPS can do the jobs? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I played a tank as well. I was a Blood Elf Paladin in World of Warcraft for a long time. A long time. I have Azalea. I guess I needed mangrove. What am I not using here very much? Not placing the coarse dirt a lot. I feel like I've got extra gravel. Well, I hope the day gets better, Gecko Gamer. Hope the day gets better. It feels like it frames it a little bit too much, maybe. I don't know. To see. think maybe a large part of this has to be bushes. Might be even worth just switching this one out. I think maybe we can switch these around. Sure. I think we'll drop one in here. Feels a little on the nose. Maybe we can sort of stretch it out a little bit. I think maybe this is the problem right there. Yeah, and then we can grab a couple of these, place them in spots that make a little bit more sense. Hmm. Once you see a weird Minecraft tree, it's kind of hard to unsee it. A little better. Oh, that's too bad about the possible fracture. Hopefully you're on the mend soon. So I like that we can see the path now, but I find that it's a little bit of a strange, kind of a strange look to everything. Feels very framed. Some of that has to do with the bush over here. That's a little bit better. That might end up being just a wall block instead of a full block. A little bit chunky. So we'll get a couple of walls while it's nighttime and see where I need to put some lights too. I guess probably do that last. In terms of the actual lanterns, but let's just grab that and a torch. Yeah, definitely did a lot more breaking up of things along this bridge. A little bit more finished out here. Let's just remove this and put that there. This will eventually be a lantern, but for now we'll just leave it as a torch. Yeah, I think that's a better vibe. I don't know that I like that I've made the bushes roughly the same height. Will I play the next Star Wars game? You mean Jedi Survivor? I've not played the first one, so if I play Jedi Survivor, I'd probably play the first one before I did that. I have Jedi Fallen Order on my Xbox. I haven't pulled the trigger. I've thought about it a couple times lately, but I just haven't got there yet. All right, let's get a little andesite going in here. So tricky on big slab sections. It makes sense that the ends of these would be crumbling a little bit here and there. I think that looks okay. Now, if this was going to be a wall, I kind of wonder if it would look better if it was closer. Kind of think it might. Oh, maybe not. I think maybe what has to happen in through here is that I have to just change this to be the actual roadblocks rather than the gutter texture that I've been using. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. And then maybe here we can pull it around. Oh, no, that doesn't look good either. Maybe it was just too far forward. Yeah, I guess that's probably it. Yeah, that's not too bad. Sometimes I really wish we could use a silk touch pickaxe to pick up things like ferns and whatnot. It'd make things a lot easier. Use carpets to get different heights too, which is nice. Helps differentiate some things. Now we can start getting in here with stuff like this. Maybe even capping it off here. Oh no, that's too tall. Whoops. So again, something like this would probably end up being a lantern, but we'll just leave it there for now. I wonder if I can wrap this around. Right, I don't want that to connect. Nope, that doesn't work either. Maybe the solution back here is actually a full block. Yeah, that works. Minecrack, welcome in. Thanks for saying hi. Hope you're having a good Saturday. This feels a little bit strange. I wonder if we could do... I guess that ends up being very even. I guess we could do that, and that would help. Let some Minecraft RNG give us a hand through here. Don't know about that tree either. Not too bad. First time it's rained all day. Yep, same as good here, Minecraft. Yep. Chill Saturday, doing some landscaping outside the town. Wouldn't like me taking out the flowers? No, you're probably right. Probably right. I'm really done with the full inventory. The only thing I can put away is dirt. Guess I've not been using the dirt slabs very much. Put those away. Let's grab some walls. Do I have lanterns around? Let's do this. Actually, switch these up. Yeah, I never had enough ferns either. Let's switch this out. And I'm going to put, I think, a mossy wall down here. And I think I'll put an actual stone wall up here. Probably there. That's not bad. I kind of want to put a mossy brick underneath here. And then we'll switch this out. I think this might be better served as a full block, and I wonder if it would look better with a slab on top. Nope. Oh, wrong thing. That's better. Yeah, and you can see how just that little bit of moss and grass really kind of gives an edge to this here, right? And I find by getting rid of just some of the dirt in places that are near where you walk, it kind of lessens the weird dirt strip nature that we seem to have a lot of in Minecraft. So you can just kind of come in and grab a couple of them here, you know, and then work in a little bit of slight texture changes. Sometimes you can make the edge feel a little bit softer by putting a bush down. Combine that with some grass and you're usually pretty good to go. Yeah, so like in your peripheral vision as you're walking down the road, like by the time you notice this, all of this, you can't see the dirt very well to the left, right? It's only if you turn your head. I find that that can be quite helpful sometimes. I think I might replace this one here too. Whoops. Yeah. You want a recipe for putting a sapling on a campfire to get a dead bush. You could, can you do that with a data pack? I think you could do that with a data pack. It's a neat idea for a recipe. It still involves some gameplay and some waiting. That's a pretty cool idea. I just don't want to default to constant bushes here. So I think what I want to do to help with this and maybe have this not be so obvious from over here, because I really want the focus to be happening here, but we don't have like a framing element. So I think we need to add in a couple of spruce trees, one of which was probably going to end up being a bit of a custom tree here on the edge. So we'll probably make a note for that. I'll probably just see what spruce trees I can get to grow there on their own and work from there. Which means putting some stuff back here. Whoops, missed the turn. That's it. Oh no, I need some dark oak too. You sure it would be possible, but if you're trying to play 100% vanilla right now, yeah. I think I've given up on just 100% vanilla. There's just too many little tweaks that I find I feel are very much in the spirit of the game. And I'm sure there are reasons why they're not in the game, but I just, things like having a different color for your hay bales and stuff like that, I think is just more fun. And I think that's it. Yeah, definitely needs something here. And it will help with the biome blend too. What I'm thinking is just something that kind of comes up in this area right there. So right in line with this, I'm going to say probably about here. Yeah. We'll just see what Minecraft gives us. Not a bad start, but you can see right away the difference that made. And what I'm going to do is chop down, I think maybe 2 of these. Actually, that has to be higher, I think. That might be a little bit too tall. Where's the old rockets? Hey, Archaeoplates, how's it going? Now that I can see what I'm doing here, I might have made it just a little bit too far back. I think just a little bit too far back. So we'll do the little zigzag a little bit taller. We'll have that happen up higher here. Yeah, that should do. I don't have the scaffolding with me either. Too many things. You going back and forth between mod packs, Meadow? Yeah, that's the thing too. If you're using too many mods or too many mod packs, then you get into a situation where like you have to wait for those things to be updated. We are definitely in that position here on the Citadel. Like I'm running 119.3 on the Citadel right now. I would like to be doing something different, but currently not the case. Right. That should help with the inventory. So I like this method of doing custom trees because it allows you to kind of get a little bit more, I guess, in depth with what you want to do. Let's see if that's the right height. And a little bit smaller. How did I do the other one? I think the other one is, I think it's like that. We've got another custom tree, which I'm going to try not to copy. But we have another one over here. I'm doing a pretty good job of copying that, aren't I? Unintentional. Now I need to make sure I branch out. Pardon the pun. That's a little bit different. It's a little bit taller. you'd probably want to move it up top a little bit too. Oops. Did I not bring more than just 5 bushes? I've never tried the Feed the Beast mod pack. I hear good things about it. Oh, I brought birch leaf. That's what I did wrong. That's what I did wrong. Right, so I think that this is probably a little bit too broad at the base. Plus, we want to show off some of the custom stuff we've got going on. Like this part. And then I guess we'll chop it back here. I guess we do need to have that there. So that's a little bit too far because we want to frame things. We don't want to overlap them. So I'll just cut that back a little bit. You can sort of see what I'm going for where I don't want it overlapping the gate in the distance. Just kind of want it framing things a bit. And then the rest of this should be pretty straightforward. Usually it's just like you follow the same kind of pattern that you see in other Minecraft trees. Just to keep it simple. Something I do like is using roots at the top. Not bad for a first take. I think we can maybe add a little bit to the top there. I should really go get my scaffolding is what I should do. So it's a pretty quick way to come up with a custom tree by just, you know, starting off with a regular Minecraft tree and just making it a little bit crooked and adding some sort of like very visible key root system, you know? And then we can make it even more interesting. Like over on this side here, for example. I think I did this on the other tree, but I'll do it here again just because it's a fun detail. Something like that. It does feel a little bit like it needs a little bit more balance. So you think about if a tree was to grow and lean this way, some branches would have to stick off the back area to make it not feel like it's going to fall over. And in reality, that wouldn't need to happen this way. You could have the tree do whatever, but it would make sense just from a visual kind of design standpoint. And of course, you can't see anything when it starts to get towards dusk. Having roots on top of the trunk is something I never thought of, but it looks great. Thanks. Yeah, I came up with it over in the taiga region of this town, the western slopes over here, because there's a couple of trees that are on the bank, and you see the top of them, but not the bottom. So I think I did it on a couple here too, but when you come around the corner here, there's this guy here and this one. And the bottoms of the trees are like way down here, right? But you see the tops, and it looked so weird with a big old chunky Minecraft tree there. So something like this is really subtle, especially when it's at eye level. And then you get like a root stair, fence gate, and then roots on top of that, and it really kind of helps the tree feel lighter. It's a little bit wonky, but like you're also working within the confines of Minecraft. And I keep on forgetting that I haven't finished that tree. Whoops. Let's just put something there for now so it doesn't look like a sore thumb. I always forget that I haven't finished the top of this. Does that look good? No. Should have taken it the other direction. All right, that's good enough for now. Okay. Hopefully that'll help look less unfinished. Glad I went over to check. Completely forgot about that. So then this just needs to be a little bit more balanced out, maybe. think I need to subtract, not add. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then, of course, down here, we'd have to get all the bushes and stuff back to finish that off. But I feel like we're going to need another tree. Probably about right where this fern is. Maybe about there. Not quite what I had intended. But this feels less kind of like a unique one-off tree and more like the part of the woods when you have overlap like that. It's just hard to control how big they get. That's the only thing. I wouldn't mind one more, but I feel like we'd have to put it sort of back in here somewhere. And at this point, I would probably just end up doing a custom tree, but one that would look a lot more like a basic Minecraft. And then we'll just kind of overlap them the way that we know how. Actually, maybe we won't need the corners. That does look a little bit strange. Oh, I see. Need something there. That's still a little bit weird. Thanks for the heads up, Dan. We also need a little bit of extra over here. It looks like a little square for my taste. There we go. Nice. So I'd like to show off this root a little bit more, so we'll probably end up pulling this down a little bit, maybe with a stone slab or something. Kind of wonder what this would look like without this guy right there. No, a little bit too bare. But that's pretty good. Like, I think that fills in that kind of space pretty well. We have to put some bushes down through there, but that'll be easy. That'll just be a bunch of ferns and things like that. And then along here, it can just be something as basic as hitting with some bone meal and trimming out the rest of the grass. But I feel like that feels like the forest goes right to the edge of the road now. And this side is feeling pretty good. Very cool. So yes, thanks for the heads up, Dan. I'm going to step away for another few minutes. For folks that are new to the channel, I do take a break once an hour. And first, I'm going to dump my inventory because this has been driving me just a little bit bonkers. So we're going to put a few things away here. Some of which I'm sure I'm going to have to pick up again when I get back, but I need a clear head. Don't think we need those. I'll keep the stone because we're going to be doing more texture work. That should be fine. We didn't really use it much tough. Cool. All right. I will be right back. So we need, I think, those root blocks back maybe. Where is all the zombies? I hear them. Definitely gonna need some mossy blocks. Oh, they're there. Wonder where they're trying to get inside. It's weird. Their pathing is completely messed up. Strange. Alright, so I'm gonna need some bushes. Probably some ferns. I thought I had more berry bushes than that. Maybe I must have used them all. I know I wanted to put a couple of stair blocks down in some places. Strange pathing in Minecraft, you're shocked? Yeah, right. Who would have thunk it? Maybe we'll just make this dirt. Or I guess coarse dirt. I'm just a little bit too far away with this setup. Like, I wish I could be closer, but it's just, it's constantly pain. Yeah, that could work. Did I not bring any logs? Did I bring any logs? So we do something like that, and then maybe even pop that up there. We are getting very close to the taiga biome, though. These can probably be okay for moss. Which I didn't bring. Yeah, not bad. Kind of wonder whether this would look good if we just push this back a little bit, just to kind of break up the symmetry of that front step. Probably a moss carpet would be the best thing there. So we'll go back and get that. And then maybe this might be better off as a stair. Again, like the more times that you can layer things, the better. Actually, let's try a fern down there. Yeah. Might be better with the grass, but oh, I don't have my shears. Wait, we don't seem to be using the tough. And we don't seem to be using the jungle very much. Yeah. And then we'll change this out. That still makes sense. I kind of want to twist this root sideways. Yeah. I might even make that a moss block just to see if it looks good. Yeah, it's fine. I wonder actually, maybe we can switch this out and do moss there and soften that up with that. Pretty sure that's a tree that I grew on my own, so it wasn't part of the natural taiga, and that's why I'm lucking out and it's working out for me. It might be a little bit overdone. Sure. Yeah, that helps. So I'm just trying to slowly kind of like get the moss to kind of dither out a little bit. Seems to be working okay. Back to bed again. All right. I think that looks pretty good. There was a stair I wanted to put up here somewhere. Oh, I think it was here. Yeah. Actually, let's try a mossy stair. Don't like that either. Oh, maybe I can put it. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know what to do there. Weird. Not that, that's for sure. I think maybe I have to add in another bush. Obviously not this color, but yeah, that's probably what I have to do. Let's just ditch, I guess, the stairs. Just do all that. We seem to be needing more foliage than we need anything else. Landscaping things. Those. Maya Sage, welcome in. You're having a good Saturday? A little bit too repetitive with the grass, but other than that, I think it looks good. Maybe we'll add the grass back here. Sure. All right, so let's take a look at the edge of this path. We've got straight to here. We've got 2, 2, 1, 1. All right, so that looks okay. I think this is the spot. Needs an adjustment. Yeah. That's helpful. And I think I have no other good slabs for this. Yeah, still feels a little bit empty through there. I think I need to get rid of this. We start to get into the taiga a lot faster. Like the taiga biome comes down this way, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot closer here. These start to look really out of place quickly. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. The path is framed. The only tricky parts are up here, where we've got the bushes are a little bit symmetrical and stuff. Do I have more grass back in the box? I didn't check. No. A moss block that can go anywhere in the world would be fun. Yeah, I'm not sure what they would call that. See, while we're up here, let's just take a look. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Nice. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, and then we'll just try to bring something else up here, maybe like a bit of grass there. Add a little bit more grass over here. Just a little bit of variety. Try, don't have any bone meal. A couple of these could be too tall ferns, maybe. Oh, that feels a little bit too close. So maybe the ones at the back are the ones that have to be tall. Yeah, that feels better. And now that we know we have these things going in here, I would like to do a little bit of extra fun work and just have these visuals make sense. King Olo XD, thanks very much for the follow. I think that feels pretty good. Grass, coarse dirt. Don't need dirt. Oh, thanks for the kind words, King. Nice of you to say. All right, so we've got those. Some basics. So we should be able to put a little bit more texture going down the road here now that we've got all this taken care of. And this should be a little bit more straightforward. Whoops. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Now, I'm going to get more creative with these roads as time goes on, but I'm trying to keep them pretty simple for the time being. And again, we're trying to make sure that there are some sort of texture arcs that kind of push you off in a certain direction. So like 1, 2, 3 that way, kind of point you towards this little path. Maybe some cobblestone there. Now here we've lost the little gutters, and that makes things a lot easier. So we can start putting these regular stone blocks just about anywhere. And I quite like them as a way to break up the bricks. especially when you have to break it off and send it off into the distance. I'll probably finish this this part of the project, Dan. And here's where you can start to have a lot more fun with varying up the texture, adding in little bits. I find gravel looks really good on the edges sometimes. Yeah, cool. I find something that I don't do enough of is I don't use enough cracked stone sometimes. When you want things to really start to look beaten up, you almost have to overdo it and then dial it back. I'd say that's pretty good. It's not completely destroyed, but good chunks of it are missing for sure. That has a pretty good flow to it. There's nothing that strikes me as too off about it. It's also very difficult when you're rounding a corner to keep things looking the way that you want. So then the tricky part now is just what to do here, but we don't have time for that today. Let me sleep and get rid of the rain and the darkness. That's if I can. Nope. Okay. Survey said no. Trying to think about where the other places are that we'd see this from. I guess the wall, the curtain wall here. Oh yeah, that works out quite well. I like that lantern there too. It might be worth not using a full lantern. It might be worth using a soulfire lantern just to kind of keep it a little bit on the dim side, and then have the these lanterns be The main road. But we've also kind of used the blue lanterns in the church area and then the taiga biome. And since we are entering another taiga biome with that path, I don't know if this. Yeah, it eventually goes into the taiga, so it kind of skirts the line between them. But then this is definitely taiga path going down this way. Actually, this is going to go... I want to say this is going to loop around and go east. I don't think it's going to go south. I think the road south is probably this one. I really haven't decided because we haven't finished the river yet. Yeah, it's a little abrupt, so we'll have to do something so that changes. But that's not something I'm too concerned with now. But that's a good spot for a light as well, I think. And I never checked the light level out there. Yeah, we're going to need lights in these. And that'll take care of most of this. Maybe some of this, but this takes up a good chunk of the immediate vicinity. And this takes care of most of the stairs. We are going to, of course, have to have some sort of lights along the road. But we'll have to see what happens after we add these two. I've got a funny feeling we're going to have the same problem that we do with major squares, is that there's just too big of an area. So we may have to put like a kitty corner light. Like we'll have a light here. We might have to have more of a bottom to this and have like a light there as well. Which wouldn't be bad. That, or we could put a lamppost somewhere around here. And we'll see what this looks like. First thing in the morning. If you're heading out of town, first thing heading south, this is what you'd see. Not bad. Pretty happy with the changes from what this was when we first started, which was basically nothing. It had the paths in there, but there was no texture, there was no foliage, there was no framing on the path. But there's a world of difference here. It's hard at ground level, but once you get up even just a little bit, you immediately kind of see that there's a path that heads off this way. And I think it's much nicer coming in. This is a little bit bare, but I think this makes a lot more sense now. Obviously these trees are temporary. It feels pretty good. And we'll have to figure out what's happening in this section here. I've got a funny feeling it's just going to be a couple of small trees, just something so that you can't see the trunk of this one, just like a tree there and a tree here, just to kind of hide things, and maybe a couple of bushes. I think we can have like a small bush here that kind of like help frame the path in the same way that we did the other one. Not so dense, but I quite like this tree. I like the way that it catches the light. I like that it frames the path in two directions. Like it absolutely pushes you to the left here, and then on the reverse we come back here. Yeah, I like the sunbeams coming through the trees too, especially with tall trees. It's really cool looking when it catches the bottoms and stuff. It makes Minecraft feel like a much more modern game. So as we're coming around the corner here, you know, we're gonna have the trees framing this church, but then as soon as you're around the corner, right, you've got our custom tree kind of keeping your focus all on what's happening right here. Without it, I think you were looking too much over the distance and there's just nothing there. And then it's got a nice reveal, like as it pulls back, you get to see more of this, which is nice. And you get to see, I mean, the mountain in the distance doesn't really render in until you get closer. And that's probably going to have a different shape to it when we're done, but I think you just need to either have lanterns attached to these or have like little lanterns on the ground, similar to what we've done with these walls. Maybe we'll do something like there, maybe off on the side, or maybe like just out here so they don't connect anything. We'll just have a couple of little lampposts. The lower the better, because it means that they'll probably cover more ground. So like it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so like if we had a lantern right there, it would probably cover most of it, especially if we had 2. We would get decent coverage, I think. And it would make sense. It's a lot of chunks. Yeah, it's about 21. About 21 chunks east-west across here, and 12 or 13 this way. It depends on where you stop. If I stop at the wall, it's 12 or 13. If you go into the roads, then it's a lot longer. Anyway, fun times, and I think some very successful landscaping and details today. So I'm feeling a lot better about the south approach. It doesn't feel quite so lackluster compared to all the other sides of the town. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a follow. We're going to pass you on to somebody else playing Minecraft. Let me just refresh my feed and see who's live. Looks like Slice Lime is live, and they're doing some Minecraft bingo. That's always fun. Plus, Slice is just a good dude. So we'll pass you on to Slice Lime, and make sure to follow them as well when you get there. And check out the Patreon page for other ways to support the channel. Thank you so much for the mod help today, for the subscriptions, people coming back with their primes and with their tier 1 subs. I truly appreciate it. It really helps me keep this stuff going. I will be back tomorrow. I know it's a holiday weekend, but like I'm not going anywhere. So 1 o'clock Atlantic, that's UTC minus 3 hours tomorrow for more of the same. We're back in Westhill, probably adding a little bit more detail in here along the river, I think is what we'll do tomorrow. You can, of course, check me out on social media, Joel Duggan, the Spawn Chunks and Citadel Cafe podcasts, wherever you find a podcast, and check out the YouTube channel as well. If you're new and you want to see more builds, maybe some building, castles and walls and things like that, then check out Joel Duggan VODs on YouTube. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.